Hello again, friends! Odin as Santa is back, yet again, for another adventure. Sort of. Last year, elven researchers had found a cosmic gate back to Alfheim, the ancestral home of the elves, from where they could cross over into Nidavellir, the home of the dwarves and their legendary forges. There, Santa and his elves Herbie and Sven encountered Surtur, the primordial fire giant behind Ragnarok. Surtur gravely wounded both Sven and Santa, the latter of whom Herbie rushed back to safety and medical attention at the Norse Pole. He then brought the Krampus back with him to Nidavellir, where he and the furry former Balder found Sven barely clinging to life. A brutal battle ensued between Surtur and Krampus, who was more than a little miffed about that whole "your plan caused me to die and turn into a monstrosity" thing, and Krampus killed Surtur by pouring an entire vat of quenching oil down Surtur's throat, extinguishing the lingering flames inside him. They returned home with Sven, having dealt with yet another threat to Christmas. This year, we find Santa amidst preparations once again, but this time about to enter the restorative Santa sleep, leaving the operations of the Norse Pole to those around him.
Herbie, how come the preparations for this year's Christmas?
They go well, Santa, though I must report something.
Eh? Is aught amiss with the production line?
Nay, the Yule are making toys right on schedule. 'Tis another matter that I thought you should know of.
What then? What plagues us this year?
Fires, oh jolly one.
Fires? Those happen every day. What concern are they of ours?
We are still looking into that. Something about them just seems odd. They've only just begun within the last hour, but we're monitoring them.
Odd? The world has become an odd place, Herbie. Now, you all must do without me for the next week or so, as I must take the Santa sleep that I may be rested in plenty of time for Christmas. Continue your investigation if you feel you must, but I suspect it shall have meant little.
I hope your assessment is correct, Allfather Christmas. May the Santa sleep refresh you for your ride.
Mind the workshop while I slumber, Herbie. Should danger manifest, my son is more than capable of standing against it, I am sure. Now, please excuse me.
Of course, Santa. Magnus, have the Sons of Heimdall made any discoveries about those mysterious fires? Aye, we've seen a pattern in the fires. They're all burning houses of worship, specifically Christian churches. Do we yet know who's doing this? Nay, brother, not exactly. However, we've seen that it is a fair-skinned man with a darkened face. He dresses like a Dutchman of centuries past. A Dutchman, you say? With a darkened face? Aye, I've seen him myself. Something seems oddly familiar about him. Familiar? Of course he's familiar. Why, in all my years helping Allfather Christmas prepare for his ride, how could I forget the character of Svartapete? For long the mortals thought nothing of him, but as a quaint, treasured figure, though in recent years many have come to think ill of him for his appearance. Aye, that's it. Eh? Magnus, is aught amiss? Put it on the screen in here. What? What is it? There, on the screen. It's him. He's starting a fire. But how? The flame seems to be emanating from his hands. Nay, it cannot be! 'Tis madness! What is madness? The bright beast slew him but a year ago. He cannot be here on Midgard. Surtur? The fire giant the Krampus battled in Nidavellir? And killed! Aye, but recall that Ymir returned to this world despite being dead. Recall further that Baldur himself transformed into the Krampus, left Hell on the day of Ragnarok, freed by the end of our world. Recall further still that Ymir, in his new seeming, talked about living if the land of the dead no longer has claim to you. Do you think, then? Ingmar seems to have the right of it, I believe. It seems Surtur's journey to Hell was but temporary, and he lives again. It may be that death is no more than a revolving door now, at least for gods. Perhaps for us too. Perhaps those of us slain by Ymir's army 2 years past may be returned to us. If so, then none too soon. It appears that we've another concern. Snow. Snow where there ought to be none. Snow in Brazil, Australia, Africa, all getting snow during their summers, even while the sun shines in the sky. Of course. Why would that not be so as well? Aye, it must be Ymir, returned from his twice-over death just as Surtur has. Burning churches in the north and freezing the south? What could they be at? Some manner of devilish plan, like as not. The fire and ice that existed before aught else but out Humla the cow have both died, aye? Aye? If Ymir returned once, I agree with Ingmar that he has likely done so again. If Ymir can journey between the lands of the living and dead, he may well have led Surtur back to vex us. Magnus, seldom does your tactical mind err. I fear we shall have to deal with both primordial miscreants ere Santa wakes from his slumber a week hence. Shall I inform the bright beast, then? Who else? And that is all we know so far, O Fierce One.
So strange happenings are afoot, some with fire and some with cold. And the Alpha Thing believes this to be the work of Ymir and Surtur returned from the dead as I did?
Aye. 'Tis the long and short of it.
That makes as much sense as anything in our lives, I suppose. What shall we do, then? To fight a war on 2 fronts with as few as we are is madness. Mighty I may be, but I cannot fight across an entire world. At the same time, the Yulilver can fight if pressed, but you are few in number, and further losses could jeopardize your and my father's new purpose here on Midgard. If too few of you are left, you cannot make toys sufficiently for his ride. Yet, if these evildoers win out, Christmas may become irrelevant. Either way, we stand to lose.
Krampus, this sounds unlike you. Do I hear despair escaping your lips?
Despair? Nay. Remember, Herbie, that I too am a god of battle. Despite my new seeming, I am able to remain mindful of tactical considerations.
No, Fierce One, I didn't mean...
Nay, Herbie, I know that you meant no insult. Aside from the fact that I am easily 3 times your size and you've your wits about you, you're respectful irrespective of those facts. You've been a steadfast advisor to my father and a wise counselor. You'd be remiss if you did not think to do the same when speaking to me. On top of that, you've shown great courage in the past, as when Surtur became known to us.
Oh, you speak kindly, O Krampus.
I speak truly. Now, Herbie, what do you suggest we do to combat this threat?
In the Alpha thing, Harold suggested that it may be possible to return our slain dead to us from Hela's realm, if it can even be said to be hers anymore. After all, during Ragnarok, when almost all the gods died, she presumably did so as well. Then again, you were there at the time. Did you see what became of her?
Nay. Nay, I saw her not. I knew what was afoot and took my fated opportunity to flee that bleak realm. I cared not what became of her. As the Norns had set forth, the end of days was my freedom, and she no longer had claim to me. I thought nothing of her fate.
I suppose, then, that an exploratory mission is in order. I shall contact our researchers and see if they have made any headway into identifying passages into other realms besides Alfheim and Nidavellir. All right, Herbie. We've rigged up this illumination device on the sleigh. We've determined that to reach Hell, we must travel the inverse of the Bifrost, metaphorically speaking. Thus, the device will burst a curtain of mist into the air before Rudolph, as this bright light shines into it, simultaneously shining this ultraviolet light upon that, thereby bringing what mortals call black light over a rainbow. Thus shall Rudolph be able to carry the sleigh into Hell, that you may search for our fallen brothers. You should need only reactivate the device to return. Excellent work, old friend!
Shall we be off then, Herbie?
Nay, my prince. I shall be off, but not you. You must remain here in the event of some manner of attack. Sven shall accompany me on this ride.
Aye. While I would go readily with you, I'll agree for two reasons. First, I am in no hurry to return there, though I would to protect you, my valiant fellows. Second, you are correct. As much as it pains me to say it, you are but two, and should our foes assail the North Pole, many more shall be in danger. It worries me, though, that Rudolph and the sleigh shall be with you.
Aye. If we are lost, so too shall they be, and with them the means to deliver the presents for Christmas. If we do not go and seek our fallen brothers, we may never see another Christmas, as the Primordials either seize or destroy it, whichever their aim is. Either way, we face disaster.
Aye, you speak truly. Fie upon such a choice, but it is the one we face. Go then, my brave friends, and retrieve your dead.
Hail Krampus! Hail Santa! Hail Christmas! I can say with confidence, Krampus, that we shall return, or we shall die. If our brothers can return with us, they shall. Hup! Hup! Brothers, engage the portal. Now, Rudolph, hie thee to Hela's realm that we may retrieve our brothers. Farewell! May we return upon the morrow, if not sooner. Herbie, what is this? Surely this cannot be the home of the dead. It appears to be a mortal city. Nay, it cannot be. Look, there is mist all about. There is a sky with light, but no sun. This must be it. It is as our prince has described it, save that it appears to have modernized. Aye, that would make sense. Just as we change to match the times, it stands to reason that the 9 realms may themselves change as well. What may have been dim torches in the past are now poorly maintained street lights. Look in here. The outside of this mechanic's business has a modern appearance, but through the garage door window I see a blacksmith's shop as it had been in the time before Ragnarok. It must be that the mortals who have somehow ended up here have caused this place to appear for their comfort, while at the same time it has retained its character of old as well. There, one of our brothers is inside. Oh, 'tis Orly, from the machine shop. See him toil forging a simple horseshoe, as he did in the before times. Is it for this woman walking in? Sven, look! The shop has changed. The inside now matches the outside. Where there was a fire, anvil, and horseshoe, there is now a 1976 Saab. A Saab? Fitting for the land of the dead. The seeming of the place must be influenced by humans. That too stands to reason. After all, 'twas mortals that this place primarily came into being for. Why should it not be that they shape it by virtue of their presence? But see, they do not interact. They merely exist here. She looks at the car, he looks at her. Even now, she goes to leave. Not a word exchanged between them, nor do or even did their faces' expressions change from before. 'Tis the cheerless nature of this place, I suspect. They go through the motions of life as they knew them before they died, which explains why Orly appears to work in both worlds. We must speak with him. Hello. Can I help you? Helby, wait, we should... Oh. Aye. The shop is divided evenly in half. Was something wrong with something I made? Wait. You look familiar. Orly! Orly! 'Tis us! Your brothers Herbie and Sven! Do you recognize us? Herbie? Do I know Herbie? Yes. Yes, I do. I do! Herbie! Sven! How came you to your end that you are here now? We live! Harold and his aides have been discovering ways to breach the divides between Midgard and the rest of the 9 worlds. We've found the one into Hela's realm, and come to retrieve you and the rest of our fallen brothers. Retrieve? Aye. Do you recall how Ymir returned to the world of the living in the form of a snowman? I do. 'Twas at his hands I fell and entered this place. Since then, at the times I've had wits enough to recall my life, I've wondered how it is that he is dead, yet roamed the world of men. As he fought the Jolly One, he taunted him with a hint that Ragnarok had rendered this place's claim to the souls of the dead meaningless, and that if one but knew how, they could escape this place and live again. Can it be? Aye! The Twisted Prince fought and slew Surtur last year. He appears to have returned as well, also with a new seeming. Know ye where more of our elven brothers are? They are near. Because we all died relatively recently, we ended up alongside modern humans. Due to our comfort in service, we became the keepers of the various shops you see around this city of the dead. I can take you to them. Come! Surtur, or whatever he calls himself now, appears to be continuing to light the fires. Snow and ice continue in places that otherwise know it not. 3 days to the hour it's now been. Think you that our brothers and Rudolph are lost to us?
Perhaps. But time flows differently there. Unpredictably. What to us has been 3 days could easily have been as many hours to them, or minutes.
You have been to hell and back. What was it like there?
They sing no songs in hell, nor do they celebrate Christmas. Nay, it is a dreary realm, free of cheer or much else. Its inhabitants are present, and that is the extent of their feelings about the place. Existence, such as it is, means nothing to them. You are dead, and you know it. Somewhat. But at the same time, you care not. You long for the end that you know is to come. Yet that end has come, and I have endured, altered by a subtle, lingering rage at the injustice of my ignominious death.
What of the dead in hell before Ragnarok? What became of those in hell besides you?
I know not what became of the other souls there, for I fled when I saw an opening let in the rays of the sun. My concern was in attaining the freedom I knew I was fated for, and living again, whatever that meant. As I left, the All-Father came and told me to come with him immediately. He knew, somehow, who I was. He must have from time to time seen me from upon this throne he cast down from Asgard, to be able to know what had become of me. My new form was not entirely defined yet. As he took on his new seeming, his guided mine, I went from the imprisonment of death to a life confined in that chamber down the hall.
My prince, we've another fire coming on screen. 'Tis at the St. Joseph Oratory in Quebec. Huh?
What?
He's looking directly at our surveillance raven. He knows we're watching him. Hold. He's grabbed a large burning splinter.
Oh, I've a suspicion as to... Aye, he's thrown the splinter as a spear and felled the raven.
And now it has hit the ground. See, he leans over it, gazing into its fading eyes, as the improvised lance within it still blazes. That smile!
Yes, 'tis the grin of a madman, albeit one who knows he's mad and has embraced it.
As I suspect you know, our Father Christmas, I have returned. Secularized though Christmas has become, I shall pull your holiday out by its roots. But for now, keep warm until we meet again. So says Sir Pete.
Sir Pete, eh? Taking a new name as he has, he's adjusted well to his new environment. I'll give him that. He's also just as arrogant as when we last met. This time, however, he's vengeance on his mind. His voice is somewhat different as well.
And he shall attempt to attack us soon, no doubt. In the 4 days since we saw him first, he's crossed an ocean, which I doubt was a feat he took lightly. After all, consider the ages he spent beneath the waves. He cannot have cared for seeing them again. I suspect he'll be upon us before your father has risen from the Santa sleep.
Blast. You've the right of it, I suspect.
We must continue to surveil him, but more carefully, and from afar. We cannot afford to lose more ravens.
Aye, we must prepare to defend ourselves, with whatever means we may. What a frosty Emir, whatever he is now. Have we any sign of him? Know we yet what seeming he has taken?
Not for certain, though we have noticed a single polar bear showing up in each of these ill-timed snows.
A polar bear? In the southern hemisphere? And at each location of concern, no less?
Aye, 'Tis bizarre, and the sons of Heimdall share what I'm sure is your suspicion that the bear is likely Ymir.
Suspicion? Bah! A near certainty, more like. A creature out of place, coincidentally in a phenomenon out of place? It can be naught but his work. We'd be fools to think otherwise.
Ah, see this screen? I believe that is the same bear we've seen. A notably large specimen, out of place, and near a snowstorm in Trinidad. He's left the southern hemisphere. He's just waded out from a beach into the sea.
Headed north?
Aye, north.
Of course he is. I suspect we may have to find out just how well I can fight two formidable foes at a time, if our friends do not return.
Orly, what is this place? This is where we have gathered. We have named it Alvarhalla. Did you build it? Nay. We merely occupied it after its inhabitants had moved on to some other part of this dismal world, bringing into it what tools we could scrounge. They've not returned to reclaim it, though we doubt they are aware enough to know that they were ever here. We only managed to retain what we have of our wits because, having arrived together, we stayed together. We reminded ourselves of who we were, of who we served. We remembered our purpose. We continued building, that we may one day find a way to leave here just as the one who slew us had. That day has come, Orly. We came alive into hell by making a gate between worlds to find you all and take you from here. Tell me, Orly, what is it you build in your hall? In addition to researching making crude weapons out of the rock, we too have been studying the connections between worlds. After all, where else do all of the 9 worlds touch but the afterlife? We need but find the entry points and how to open them. That is precisely what we have been working on. 'Tis how Santa, Sven, Krampus, and I all made our way to Nidavellir a year hence, where we encountered Surtur, the primordial fire giant. Surtur? Say you that 'twas through the might of the Norse Pearl that the Lord of Ragnarok came here? Specifically our savior of 2 years past, Baldur the Bestial. The Krampus? Your savior, mayhap, and we thought not ours, though it turns out, then, that he may have saved us from death indirectly. In our wanderings to find this place, we saw the burning of Surtur as he was on the final day, falling from the sunless sky, blazing as though he were that absent star. We espied him speaking to one who could only have been Ymir, his counterpart from the birth of the universe. We knew him from his mocking, grating voice as we had seemingly only just heard it. Ymir offered to show Surtur the way out of here. We dared not follow them too closely, lest they see us, and hide their secret from us. But we did see them come to this general vicinity and then disappear. We felt it safe to investigate and found them not, but we did find the shades of mortals here. They were shocked by what they had just seen amidst this copy of the sort of place they had lived, but just as they were numbed in life to the wonders of existence, so too did they quickly forget that they had seen something so remarkable as an escape from death. Truly their existences on Midgard must be a violence against them, to have made their times there so empty as to be naught but a preparation for this place. Be that as it may, they come and go. I suspect this is a sort of landing place for many of them, to make the transition easier. It allowed us to claim some of the buildings. 'Twas fortunate that you happened upon me as you did, for I had tarried a bit long in that place and fell into the role it demands. You shook me out of it. I think, though, that you may have found the gate we sought. Had it been a serpent, its venom would have burned me long ago. We've discovered the means to travel to each world, but not the locations of the gates. Tell me, Oli, does your method of breaching this gate to Midgard involve what the mortals call a black light and a rainbow? Aye, but we hadn't one here, nor is there any water nearby to turn into the mist needed to make a rainbow. Then you are in luck! We brought the means to return upon the sleigh. Oli, have our brothers gather what they can carry, ensuring that among that is all your notes on reaching the other 9 worlds. We must all of us board the sleigh to return to Midgard, for Ymir and Surtur are sure to attack the North Pole again. Nay, bring the sleigh here instead. There is another thing we built, in case we should find our way home. We shall hitch it to the sleigh. Our lord's steed is mighty, and we may work our small magics to at least temporarily assist him in bringing it over to Midgard. We shall ride inside it.
No, great-grandfather. I slew you twice now. Hide thee from my sight, and trouble Christmas and the children of Midgard no more. Ha! And you, old foe, you who attempted to slay the universe and failed, I know not why, but though your forces overcame mine, they did not achieve your goal. At least they all burned for their efforts. Wait. No. Lord of Elves, remember yourself! Remember who you are and what you are doing. This is the Santa sleep. You are dreaming. Search for how you can get home to Asgard with Balder and the Yule-Alvar and restore the 9 worlds as they were. Wait, the Norns? Did they survive? Aye, if anyone did, 'twould be the mistresses of fate. Aha! There they are, weaving new thread of fate. A tapestry hangs behind them of the 9 worlds before and including Ragnarok. Woven, I assume, of the thread of fate before them. I always did wonder what they would do with that thread. 'Tis no surprise that the witches of fate themselves escaped it, no doubt by their own machinations. I must use my own satyr to divine what their new thread holds in its pattern. What? Hell? Are we insane? Nay, this cannot be. And enemies outside our gates? Damn me to the corpse shore. I have focused so intently upon finding our way home that I have endangered those who I would vouchsafe back there. I must... Fie! They see me, but how could they not? It is only by their will that I am here at all.
Whose will, Jolly One?
No time for that. Take me to my son at once. The fires! They are Surtur's doing, I trust.
Yes, Father. I suppose that question means you need no explanation as to what is going on?
I've at least the general idea. As Ymir did before him, Surtur has returned from the dead in a new seeming. Yes?
Aye, High One.
And Ymir has also returned.
Yes. Father, did you have a vision while in the Santa sleep? In fact, should you not still be abed, resting for your Christmas ride?
I shall explain later. Where are Herbie and Sven?
They have gone through another dimensional gate to my former home, to retrieve their fallen brothers for what I assume shall be a forthcoming assault.
You assume correctly, my horned lord. See on the view screen.
Aye, upon that mountain ledge. There he stands, melting the surrounding snow with his heat, rivulets streaming down the mountainside, all as he wears that ridiculous outfit. He stares directly at our raven. He knows we are watching.
Heat ripples surround his garish figure. Is that Zwarte Piet he's taken the seeming of?
Aye, it appears so.
Fitting, I'd say, if he's been affected by modernity as we have. Even his original name means black, and the character of Zwarte Piet is covered in ash.
Father, must you admire the enemy?
Oh, don't you get me wrong now. I'm not admiring him. I'm just saying it makes sense. He is, I'm sure, still sufficiently naughty that we must do something besides give him a lump of coal. After all, he'd not have stalked us from Europe, I take it, where the first church burned?
Aye, Europe.
He'd not have stalked us all the way from Europe, across an ocean, and then stand upon a mountain watching us watch him, did he not mean us harm.
Then let us prepare. We shall treat with him and, should he prove belligerent, prepare to make an end of him. At least until next year.
Aye, this revolving door of death has become troubling. Though, at least it means we got you back.
In a sense, you did. I fear, though, what it cost.
The Norns had their hand in all this, I am certain. But that is a discussion for another time. To arms, my elves! I am sorry, but we must prepare to fight once again. Remain merry and bright, my old friends. He is power primordial, yes, but he is diminished from what he was in life. He is now but a shade of himself. How powerful he remains, we know not, but we can be certain that death diminished Ymir, who it took my grandfather and his brothers to slay. So it only stands to reason that Surtur is no longer as he was before my son slew him a year ago.
Be on your guard, though. We recall what Ymir did to us the year before. Over 20 of your elf brothers took my place in Hela's dark fiefdom, and even I was wounded significantly. Keep your courage, but have a care. I fear we are down the 2 we sent as well. I shall mourn them, as shall we all. But for their memories shall we stand even more firm in the face of our burning foe.
And here is that face, O killer of mine. Well, you did in ending me, but I have overcome and returned, albeit with a new face.
Yes, about that face. I should tell you that while I know its cultural origins, many of the mortals...
I care not what the mortals think. I have burned many of their churches to diminish your power, that I may vanquish you.
Diminish my power? Ho, ho, ho! Do you think that those are places where the mortals worship me? Ha! No! Christmas is a holiday of another religion besides that which told tales of us. No! My seeming reflects a more modern tradition that happens to be taken from one of their figures in celebration of another. It provides me a certain joy to act the part, though I know not how much of that is a result of the mortal's influence, and how much is a genuine change in me. So, what, then? Do you desire Christmas for yourself?
Ha! No, of course not. Why would I want your day? As is my nature, I merely want to watch it burn. When I am done with you and your elves, I will not claim your workshop for myself. Nay, I will instead destroy it for the simple pleasure of its consumption.
Nay, fell fiend, you shall... What?
Sleigh bells? One-Eye, are you not the one who commands the caribou?
Aye, but 'tis... Herbie! Sven! And... what is that hitch to the rear of the sleigh?
Ow! Simple elves with simple arrows. How can I so easily meet another end? So ignominiously this time.
'Tis simple, Surtur. The Valalvar have spent their time training with bows they made from those trees found in Hell, and arrowheads made from the stone there, which has special power over the dead when used as weaponry. They also made their new mobile battle station, Mordner, from which they have slain you who are already dead. Farewell, Surtur. Until next year, I suspect. Hail, Valalvar! We have escaped, returned to the land of the living, and slain the primordial fire demon reincarnate!
Ah, you've slain something with the form of a man. But have you arrows to fell me? Ah, that voice. It can only be Ymir returned. Your form is less ridiculous than before, yet... ho! Perhaps not. What? What mean you, One-Eye? How can I, Ymir, father of Frost, appear ridiculous in the seeming of one of the most feared apex predators on the planet?
Well, revered ancestor, you have taken on the form of not just any polar bear, but a mortal advertising mascot.
What? I do not understand. Ha! It is true. You appear to have taken a cue from me and assumed the form of the bear the Coca-Cola company uses in its Christmas time promotions. You see, my seeming is influenced heavily by their advertising because it's how the mortals came to see me, instead of my true self, or the true image of the St. Nicholas that Santa Claus is derived from. How? How could you tell one polar bear from another?
The clue is around your neck.
Eh? A scarf? How did this get here? I was not wearing this when I left Trinidad. I did not see it before me in the ocean as I swam. Such is the nature of beings such as us when the mortals consider us. They saw you, surely, about during the Christmas season, when Coca-Cola shows their advertisements of the Coke Bear, as they call it, which you resembled. It is only natural that as they thought of you during your swim, your seeming took on their thoughts, and you gained the scarf that the Coke Bear has. Fie! Enough of your prattle! Prepare to find your own way out of hell! What? Why can I not attack you? Why does my body instead seek to... hug you?
It appears that allowing the mortals to directly see you was highly disadvantageous. They imparted upon you their commercialized version of a polar bear, making you cuddly and harmless.
Yes, you have made yourself useless through carelessness, my great-grandfather. But no. Elves, I beg your mercy.
Say no more, Father of Ice. Oh, right through the eye. Good shot, Orly. Thank you, Herbie. 'Tis not dwarven craftsmanship, we grant, but it did the trick all the same.
Well, that takes care of this year's problem unexpectedly easily. Ollie, you shall have to tell me about your Valolver? Have you styled yourselves?
Aye, Santa. We slain elves returned feel that we have earned a new name for our number. We who have toiled to craft new weapons for situations like this, and researched things we know you have sought for so long.
What? While in hell you researched the gates among the 9 worlds?
We did. And we have made some discoveries. We must deliver our findings to Ingmar at once.
Aye. After Christmas, we shall at once construct a new research hall for the Valolver to help us find our way home again to Asgard. For now, though, we must rest the reindeer and prepare the sleigh. Christmas is almost upon us! Ho, ho, ho!